There's a theme among bikers. When you have a kid, you give up the motorcycle for safety or whatever. And I think that's a bad idea. First, I want to tell you a story about two different people. So first is my brother. My brother has two kids. My brother was never a biker, but for the example, my brother likes Pokemon. His kids love Pokemon because they do what Dad does. My brother is into cycling. He got into cycling a few years ago, and the kids are into cycling. And let's go for a ride. Let's ride the bike because that's what Dad does. Now, another man I know, I met him at a bike meetup here. He has a Ducati, and he's obsessed. He's also 68. What he did was he had two kids, and while they were kids, while they still lived at home, before they went to university, he got rid of his motorcycles. Still obsessed the whole time, but he got rid of the motorcycles. It's not safe. Now he's got adult kids, so he's back on the bike. He's getting into retirement. He's really on the bike. And not only do his kids not like motorcycles, his kids are, generally speaking, afraid of motorcycles. They won't ride with him. And he's got other bikes. He's got a touring Harley Davidson, so it's not a matter of comfort or anything. His kids just don't like motorcycles. When he was telling me about raising kids, he actually regretted that when he got rid of the bike, he didn't get another hobby. So the kids didn't have anything to bond with him. So he was just the firm father. And, you know, if all you do after work is just sit around and watch TV, that's not much of a thing to bond with Dad, is it? Even if it's not just motorcycles, whatever your hobby is, if you give up that when you have a kid for whatever reason, what lesson did you teach your kids? I'll use myself as an example, and you tell me if this projects onto you well or not. I love bikes. It's my passion. Bikes are one of the major reasons I moved to Japan in the first place. As much as I may want a Ducati every now and then. But if I give up bikes, the subconscious message I am teaching my child, whatever you love, whatever your passion is, having a child means giving that up. Give up your dreams, give up your happiness, give up everything because you had a kid. And then you look at declining birth rates around the world, there's another reason not to have kids. You've got to give up all your passions, all your dreams. If I was to compare to my brother again, the likelihood of him getting killed for playing Pokemon are pretty low. Let's agree that it's not likely he's going to get murdered for playing Pokemon. He's not going to have a sudden gaming accident where arthritis in his right thumb causes him to fall off a mountain. He's not even going to get really injured beyond the potential of too much A button giving him arthritis in his thumb, which is an incredibly fixable thing. Doesn't even need to see a doctor if he's stubborn. But my hobby, that turn I just took now, if I wasn't filming and I was focusing on the fastest I could go, my MT-07 has rear sets. What is the fastest I could go? One tiny piece of gravel, I hit the median, I hit the wall, I slide off the mountain. There's a lot of risk involved. So, am I saying, don't give up your hobbies and, die young, orphan your children? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that in the least bit. I have all the safest stuff I can afford. I've made questionable financial decisions based on safety. I wear a Shoei helmet. I wear gloves with knuckles and palm sliders made mostly of leather. I have a mesh jacket that has leather in all the impact zones. And all the chest and back areas, I wear an airbag vest from Hit Air. And nothing sponsored, but I have CE level 2 in my elbows, in my shoulders, in my back, in my knees, in my hips. I have AA rated motorcycle jeans. I have motorcycle boots with CE rated protectors on the ankles, toes, and heel. It does not get much safer. But when it stops being 30-some degrees outside in Celsius, I have AAA rated jeans. When I ruin this jacket or get money, whichever comes first, I'm intending to replace this jacket with a AAA rated riding shirt. But I would never wear anything below AA rated unless I trust the product. Like, this jacket has no A rating, no CE rating, except for the armor. All the armor I put in myself. But it's leather. The elbows and shoulders are well enough stitched. everything else doesn't matter because of the airbag vest. And if I crash so fast and so hard that I grind through the outside of the airbag vest, the inside of the airbag vest, the jacket, which is 700 denier nylon, and then I grind through my CE2 back protector, well, something hit me by then and I died for very different reasons. So I'm not going to ride like an a-hole going 200 kilometers an hour on a 40 zone. I'm going to be smart enough. I have knee sliders that I do not use anymore. Not that I ever use them. I've never gotten a knee down on a public road. That'd be insane and crazy. But that scared the hell out of me. But as a father now with a beautiful young baby girl, yeah, that actually is insane and crazy. When I see people putting their knees down on the road, I can't help but wonder, hey, isn't that a bit far? If you give up your hobby for a kid, that's a terrible lesson you're teaching your kid. And even if it's finances, your hobbies should not be the first thing you give up for financial reasons. Now, if you're absolutely destitute and you can't find money anyway, yeah, feeding your kids a really good idea. But like in our situation, if you saw my video about getting rid of my tracer, and we also got rid of the SV, there's definitely big parts of me that regret getting rid of the tracer. When I got rid of the tracer, what I did was I sold it for cash and got this on a very, very, very forgiving loan. And I kept the cash towards the kid. And my wife got rid of her SV because realistically she can't ride pregnant. She can't ride with a baby. We don't have anyone close enough that can watch the kid for a few days while we go out riding. So for at least another 6 months until I get a good job that takes care of all these issues, my wife doesn't have her bike. But we didn't have no bike. We still got this bike. And since buying this bike, the loan has cost us less than $500 US in almost 9 months. But we made $8,000 off of selling the tracer. So we're doing okay, even with the mods that I couldn't resist putting on this bike. But those mods, many have paid for themselves because of YouTube videos. So maybe add to your hobby to make it affordable. My kid is 6 weeks old. What do I know? I might be an idiot. I can judge my brother, but raising a 6-week-old versus a 6-year-old, he and I are having two very different conversations. But if you give up your hobbies because you had a kid, what lesson did you just teach your kid? You taught them that pair bonding and having a kid is to sacrifice happiness and to give up on your dreams. And that's a terrible life lesson. What's the point of living? This is Japan, one of the richest places in the world. Tokyo, the richest city in the world, richer than most countries. So even a bad job, you can afford something like this. And if you can't, quit your job, not your bike. But I can't imagine giving that up for the kid, even just from the moral standpoint of you need to teach your kid about happiness, about hopes and dreams. If you have to work longer hours that you can't spend time with your kid, again, you're working for the wrong company. I met someone today and he pointed out that the crazy hours I have, I work for a Japanese company. There's plenty of foreign companies in Japan. He took a half-day casually because he works for a German company who values human rights. There's other sacrifices you can make, and you do have to make some sacrifice. You need to be a happy father, and this is much more for men than women. Women make big sacrifices for kids, but women get big support. Like, I was not allowed to change my daughter's first diaper because I'm a man and nothing else. I wasn't allowed to give her first bottle because I'm a man and nothing else. It happened overnight, and they kicked the fathers out. I held my daughter before my wife. The medical workers, and this is Japan, not the most gender equal society in either direction, but the medical worker wouldn't give me my child. And my wife had to say, no, dad's first. She's like, no, this is what women do. And she said, no, dad is first. So I got to hold my baby. There is so much working against men being good fathers. A lot of it's men, and it's men's culture, and men just saying, oh, that's women's work. But most men that I know, even in Japan, want to be in their kids' lives and want to be a good role model to their kid. So you need to find a space where you're allowed to. You have to fight for that. Women are expected, but men are not welcome in many situations. And that's kind of going off on a tangent, but you have to keep your happiness. You need to value your life, even though you're a man. You're not just a worker and a protector. You also need to be a role model for happiness. And you need to look in the mirror every day. If my daughter grows up to be a heterosexual woman, she will statistically have an over 90% chance of marrying someone that is almost completely like me. And if I had a son, he will very likely become me. I look at my dad and my brothers, and it's like, yeah, the apple didn't fall that far at all. I get along with my dad great. My dad's one of my closest friends because, after 30 years, the guy's got to rub off on you for better or for worse. And my dad was a very good father. He worked too hard, but I became like my dad. And if he was a bad man, if he was abusive, if he was a drinker who blacks out every night, well, that's what he raised me to be. But he didn't raise me to be that. And so I'm this. I am different in many ways, but that might come down to hitting my head too hard when I was 17. That's another story for another time. When I look at this hobby, what am I teaching my daughter? If I give up bikes, she'll be like me. She'll look for someone like me. So if I become an unhappy worker who doesn't stick around to emotionally support his family, to play with his kid, to have something to share with them, like fixing the bike is something we can do. Working on her bicycle when she gets one is something we can do. If I don't have those things to teach her, well, what kind of man do I think am I going to bring into her life? Seeing as how I'm a piece of crap for my wife and I'm an unhappy person for my wife, guess what she's going to get? Versus, I think I'm a good guy. I think I'm a caring father. I think I'm a loving husband. I think I've got hobbies that I enjoy quite a bit. I think I'm teaching her how to be happy and to look for a happy person who values this more than money. Money matters, but not if you don't have a good life that you bought with it. So, at risk of rambling too much further, don't give up your passions because you had a kid. Just do them safer. Do them more responsibly. Till next time, please tell me what I got right or wrong, but these are the kind of videos I really like to do. By far not the most profitable videos, but, maybe like and subscribe to help feed my daughter and my hobbies. But till next time, this has been Kaidu Rider. Thanks for watching.